I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen of Madison Maximize Living. There are three things people talk about and may even complain about the most: the weather, politics, and their health. On Maximize Living, we can't do much about the weather or politics, but we sure can do our best to bring you the latest natural healthcare news. We filter through many natural health articles, doing the homework for you, and bring you just the best and most useful articles. Join co-host Stacy Hansen and myself for Natural Healthcare News, coming up next.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking about natural healthcare news today. We've got some fun things to share with you and some interesting things. I've got one here from the Globe and Mail. It talks about complaining. Complaining actually rewires your brain for negativity. So it says most people complain once a minute during a typical conversation.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of complaining,
It's
Lucy.
a lot, yeah. It says, the brain loves efficiency, and when you repeat a behavior such as complaining, your neurons branch out to each other to ease the flow of information. So once you start complaining, it becomes a habit, and you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And it says when you complain, it actually shrinks the hippocampus in your brain, and that's the area that's critical to problem solving and intelligent thought, so it could actually make you less intelligent.
The hippocampus is also the area in London taxi drivers. It grows so big, because they memorize for 3 years every road in London, which is like a maze.
Yeah?
Yeah, interesting, huh?
So it's interesting how you can actually sort of change your intelligence. It does say here that when you feel the need to complain, some things that you can do to try to get over this is to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, and that can help you with improved mood and energy and substantially less anxiety. So you need to be cautious about the people that you're spending time with, though, because we tend to naturally mimic the behavior of others around us.
Exactly. I love the term guard your mind share. So watch what you're listening to, reading to, and who you're around. But it makes a big difference. There's a lot of negativity out there. Mm-hmm. And we can choose which side you want to be on by who you're with and what you're reading, what you're listening to. I have one here from Emax Health. It is probiotics lower stress and anxiety levels. I thought that was fascinating.
Wow.
That, and most people have imbalance in their gut. It's epidemic. More than 2/3 of people have imbalanced normal flora in their intestine. There's hundreds of different kinds. Literally, we have almost 5 pounds of probiotics in our intestines, and they fight our boost our immune system. But this particular article, University of Missouri, that the live bacteria are positively affected when there's less stress. So by reducing stress, you can, by taking probiotics, you can lower your stress and anxiety levels. We're generally used to keep our digestive system stable, but also helps lowering your stress. And what they did was they studied zebrafish, and they were giving Lactobacillus plantarum, which is one of the popular probiotics. And they found the fish had completely different behavior when taking that, and found they didn't act stressed like they normally would in certain environments. So again, the more and more information keeps coming out on probiotics and how incredible it is. And it doesn't have to be something you're taking in a pill form all the time. It's really getting back to more of the things we had 100 years ago, when we pickled things and kefir and sauerkraut and the yogurts and things like that to get those natural bacteria in our bodies.
And it sounds like if you were to pair taking a lot of probiotics with regular exercise, if you suffer from anxiety and some of those issues, you could really defeat them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then as a chiropractor, we find anxiety levels change as we adjust people. It's quite common for stress to reduce, because there just isn't as much interference peppering the brain from all these joints that are under strain and signaling the brain. So you put all those things together, that's what we call natural health care.
That's fascinating. And there's also in the news too, the U.S. Surgeon General declares war on addiction. This is from Medline Plus. The U.S. Surgeon General Murphy says we have 20.8 million people in America with substance abuse disorders, but only 1 in 10 is getting treatment. So he's talking about how we need to take a stand on this. However, it looks to me like they're talking about fighting it with more drugs.
Yeah, again, they have their place and may very well be necessary, but I just, starting with a healthy living lifestyle, you don't get into the drugs in the first place, and just understanding early on how damaging they can be. Unfortunately, heroin is so inexpensive now, it's decimated many of our communities. I don't think anyone doesn't know someone that has had a loss to someone addicted to heroin.
Yeah, and it does say something here about the younger you are when you start doing any of these things, even alcohol, the more likely you are, 4 times greater risk, it says, of developing a problem. So stay with us. We have more on natural health care news right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. And welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking about natural health care news today, and we've learned a lot of interesting things so far. I've got another one here from naturalnews.com. It talks about constipation and bowel movement.
Close to all of us.
Well, speak for yourself there, Dr. Pat. But it does say here that if you go for a day without having a bowel movement, you definitely have a problem. So there's good news. There's 10 natural ways to defeat this issue. The first one is, I think, pretty well known, eating more fiber. The next one, though, that I had not heard before, taking magnesium. They say that taking magnesium actually increases the water content. So it makes things easier to move out. Drinking water, we just talked about drinking water quite a bit. We've talked about probiotics quite a bit. Eating prunes is kind of the classic, what your mother always told you, apples. Digestive enzymes were new to me too. I hadn't heard about them before, but you can actually take digestive enzymes.
Right. That's real common for someone who's bloating or gassy. They really don't have enough enzymes. They're not breaking down their food properly.
So that's one way to do it. Another one here too is to eat hot peppers. It actually increases fluid in the intestines. It must be the irritation or something from the heat, you would think. Somehow it increases fluid in your intestines.
Your intestines salivate just like your mouth does.
Yeah, maybe. Eating healthy oils, it says promotes smooth flow.
Yep.
So there you go. And then lastly, taking whole leaf aloe vera gel. They say to take that on an empty stomach to fix your bowel movement problems. It also helps to heal a damaged stomach lining, but you want to take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach.
Yeah, the leaky gut syndrome is a common syndrome that's upwards of 2/3 of Americans have, where the villi separate in their intestines and they're absorbing food particles they shouldn't absorb, and it causes inflammation in their body. Aloe vera juice is one of those things. It's very inexpensive to help close that, but it also is very helpful with constipation.
Interesting.
And it's not very expensive either. It's good for burns on the outside. It's also good for health on the inside. So a lot of people are kind of surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I am surprised to hear that. That's cool.
Well, I've got one here, 6 steps to cleanse your liver. And some people thought, what is that all about? I don't need to do that. But actually, a lot of people are toxic because we have too many chemicals, too many drugs, additives, preservatives, maybe don't drink enough water, don't move enough. All those things can really congest us. Our livers are on overload. And so there's 6 steps. This is from Dr. Josh Axe. Number 1, remove toxic foods from your diet. Number 2, drink raw vegetable juice. So I think that's something every day. It's great to have a good 12 to 16 ounce raw vegetable juice. I like the Greenade from Whole Foods, or anything that uses a green apple as a sweetener because it's not high in carbs, and then mix it with the kale and the spinach juice, things like that.
So you don't have to do a full-on juice cleanse. You can just take the juice.
Anytime you have it, you're helping your liver. Load up on potassium-rich foods. This one is going to go along. This one might be a little challenge for some of us. Do coffee enemas.
Wow, that's a new one.
Here's the thinking, and I've heard this a number of times before, that the caffeine is absorbed through the hemorrhoidal artery and it causes the liver to dump toxins.
Wow.
So it is one of the anti-cancer treatments is to get the liver functioning better.
Wow.
So there's more to read on that. I just wouldn't do it without studying that. Take milk thistle, dandelion, and turmeric supplements. And I've heard a lot before about milk thistle being very healthy.
Really?
And turmeric, of course, is amazing to get that into your body. Eat real beef liver and take liver tablets. That's from Dr. Josh Axe.
Interesting. So we also have a question from Chris from Madison, who's wondering, can you help tendonitis in the forearm?
We sure see a lot of it. It's a common problem with overuse of the wrist, overuse of the elbow and the shoulder. Now, most of the time when we get problems in the upper extremity, there's a problem in the neck. We call it a double crush syndrome, where it's out of alignment here. It makes it easier for anything else to happen here. Commonly with the tendonitis, the joints in the elbow are out of alignment, and there are specific adjustments to reseat those joints back in place, restoring normal mechanics. Then the tendons are no longer under stress and no longer inflamed.
So Chris, definitely want to check that out. Definitely make an appointment. It sounds like Dr. Pat can help you. Well, stay with us. We have more right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Email Dr. Pat at cw57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking about natural healthcare news today. So we've got some great articles to share with you. This first one that we found is pretty interesting. It's about the best sleep positions. This is from the Epoch Times. So what do you think the best #1 sleeping position is? Well, it's unfair to ask you because you probably already know.
I should be here. As a chiropractor, I'd say sleep on your back.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, sleep on your back. So that's the #1 best, is to sleep on your back. They say that because it maintains your spine, back, neck, and spine all in neutral position, so I expected you to know this. So if you're prone to any kind of back pain or stiffness, this is the one for you. It's also good for circulation and preventing acid reflux. So if you're having trouble getting comfortable with this, they suggest lie on your back and then put your hands palms down on your chest, stomach, kind of different areas, and find what feels comfortable for you. Mm-hmm. And it's also good for wrinkle prevention.
Yes, I like that.
so
We're
work
all
on that.
concerned about wrinkles.
The #2 is sleeping on your side. The sleeping on your left side, it says, actually helps ease heartburn and acid reflux. Mm-hmm. Who knew? You probably did.
It's good to go to both sides because you get lymphatic drainage. But
oh, sure. Plus, probably your one arm probably gets a little sore.
You'd look funny if you only slept on one side all the time, probably.
Probably would. Side sleeping also reduces snoring. So if any of you are having trouble with a partner up there snoring, ask them maybe to try side sleeping. It's also the best position during pregnancy. You should know that sleeping on your back is not recommended when you're pregnant.
It's hard on the spine, the weight pushing down.
It is. It's a lot of weight. #3 is curled into the fetal position, and they actually said that like 41% of adults said that was their favorite, but that's actually not good for your spine.
We get too curled up. You know, it's better than the next one.
And then the next one is sleeping on your stomach. That's the one you don't want to do.
Right.
So if you're doing that, stop that.
And if you aren't concerned that it bothers the low back because it's arched too much, or the head is turned, and sleeping on one side with your head turned all day would kind of strain you, be concerned about the wrinkles. That would be
yes.
If we don't get you with a healthy spine, we'll get you with the
wrinkles.
We'll
appeal to your vanity.
Thank you, Stacy. and going right along the line with that, how hitting the snooze button messes with your mind.
Really?
So this is a behavioral scientist, Dan Ariely, wrote in a recent Wall Street Journal column, snoozing for extra round or 3 doesn't just make your morning routine a little more hectic, it actually messes with your mind, making it harder to get into a good sleeping routine. The thinking is if you get up right away when your alarm goes off, you'll be trained to get up easier. But if you keep hitting the snooze button, your body just doesn't get the right signaling to get going.
Really? So you sort of have to force that signal to happen.
So what's your record for touching the snooze button?
You know, I never do. I'm one of those people that's just like, I don't know. I just maybe a little bit type A sometimes.
I'm working on it myself. I have once, I laughed at myself. I think I did it 7 times.
Did you?
It was terrible. I even missed my morning workout and I kept hitting it. It's really strange waking up every 10 minutes.
See, yeah.
But now I'm down to 1 or less. So it's we all have our challenges.
So you made progress.
I made progress.
Yeah, he's getting that workout in. I've also got one here about why you should take vitamin D as you get older. We talk about vitamin D a lot on the show. It actually reduces the risk, this is from the Daily Mail, of respiratory illnesses by 40%. They said elderly patients were 40% less likely to develop lung infections when they were taking high doses of vitamin D. They like it because it's a first line of defense. Because a lot of times in these types of situations, we're dealing with viruses. Antibiotics don't treat viruses, and if people try to use them anyway, we're in trouble.
Exactly. We're creating more bugs from the overuse of antibiotics. They are hard on your system. They kill the probiotics that should be in your own intestines, which we now know affect your brain health, your immune system health, the very thing you're relying on to fight the infection. You're killing off the bacteria in your gut that helps that. So vitamin D has been just an epic discovery that its usefulness is more than just bone density, but it's actually so important with things like cancer prevention and infections.
And as we head into winter, probably even more important to start taking that vitamin D. Well, stay with us. We'll have more healthcare news right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Email Dr. Pat at cw57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking natural health care news today. And Dr. Pat, you've got a good one we were talking about during the break.
Yes. This one is health tips from Giselle DaCosta. And 3 important signs you need to be drinking more water.
Wait for it, more water. You thought we were going to talk about wine or something, didn't you?
Well, your body is composed of 60% water. One of the signs that you're not drinking enough water, and really 75% of people are dehydrated, this says your urine is dark yellow. So if you have darker yellow urine, most people know that, but some don't. You're not drinking enough water. If you're constipated, drink more water. And the third one here is headaches. Many people who are dehydrated will get headaches. So those are 3 signs that you need to be drinking more water.
And about how much water do you need to be drinking?
You know, about 2 to 3 ounces every half hour.
Okay.
You can't just guzzle a 32-ounce jug of ice-cold water. You'll probably get a headache, and it goes through your system, and it doesn't get absorbed. So you want to drink less water more often for better absorption of water. Okay, good to know. To really get that intercellular fluid. So go ahead and take a few sips right now while you're watching this. Yeah. Good reminder. On that same note, how much of your body is water? How much of the body would you say is water? I think it varies a little bit, 60%-ish. Yep, right on as I would think here. The average amount in the human body ranges from 50 to 75%, but it does vary according to your age and your gender. Infants actually have a much higher volume of water. They're typically around 75 to 78% water for infants, which I think is amazing. That drops to 65% by the time that they're 1 year old. It also varies between men and women because fatty tissue has less water than lean tissue, and women naturally have more fatty tissue than men. So the adult male is about 60% water and the adult woman is about 55% water. So that's a big part of your body. So again, make sure you take a few drinks of water. Make sure we're taking plenty. On another subject, Sean Guinan said 7 essential habits for protecting your family from toxins. You know, this is kind of a new topic. People think, well, everything's toxic. I'm just going to forget about it. Yeah. But that doesn't work very well, especially when 1 in 2 men will get a cancer diagnosis and 1 in 3 women will get a cancer diagnosis in their lifetime. And there are some 85,000 synthetic chemicals in the market today, this article is stating. Wow. So avoiding those chemicals, many of the natural anti-cancer people are saying it's really our environment, our chemicals, and it's not our genes causing these the issue with cancer near as much. So eat clean and green. And it talks about the pesticides accumulating in children's bodies, resulting in chronic illness later in life. So we're custodians for our kids, so let's learn so that they don't get the cumulative toxins. And EWG, Environmental Working Group, has a Dirty Dozen list that I'd recommend everyone look up, and it tells you what foods are the cleanest. Say no to household chemicals. Do you look at the chemicals we're putting in, aromatizing in our house between our laundry detergent and our scrubbing the floors and our dishwashers?
And everything.
And so the homes now are some 5 times more toxic than outside air. So this one article talks a lot about just how great old-fashioned vinegar is, just white vinegar, mixing a half with water and half vinegar, how good it is. Avoid unnecessary antibiotics, try natural remedies first, put plastics away, be aware that all the plastics we're getting exposed to, especially microwaving something in plastic.
Definitely don't do that.
For toxicity, it's amazing here is get your kids moving. Because the more you move your body, the less toxicity you'll have.
Is it from sweating or just?
Just body movement causes your cellular metabolism, and then you're going to lose moisture and sweat and improve your processes, move those toxins out of your intracellular tissues out into your bloodstream and then taken out of your body.
Wow.
Dig in the dirt. There's a book I just read called Eat Dirt. It was just an awesome book about, being around some bacteria to some degree helps you healthy immune system. And just having time to relax. So many people are so stressed it really affects their immune system and affects their ability to detoxify.
So consider that your permission from Dr. Pat that it's okay to go ahead and relax today and every day to find time for yourself. Well, stay with us. We have more right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Email Dr. Pat at cw57.tv.
Thank you for watching Natural Healthcare News. I hope these articles have encouraged you to take better steps with your health. Please be sure to discuss the topics and healthcare decisions with your doctor. One of the best healthcare decisions you can make is to have your spine and nervous system checked by a chiropractor. I encourage every one of you to call for a checkup at 608-833-1282. You'll be glad you did. For Maximize Living, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Until next time, live well and God bless.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.